Everyone, it's Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art. This video will show you how to paint buttercups, a simple grapevine wreath, and lily of the valley. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I have out here, let me get a little closer, zoom in, is that right? Yep. I have out here one of these 4x6 cards. It's easier to see than painting on white. It's cardstock, it's like this natural neutral tan. And then I have out some plaid, yellow ochre, moon yellow, white, thicket, and citrus green. Okay, I have a number 12 flat brush, but because brushes are not universal in size from manufacturer to manufacturer, I will say this is not quite a ½ inch. It's in between a ½ inch and a ½ inch wide flat brush. You want to make sure that your brush is nice and neat, that it comes to a really nice chisel edge point up here. You don't want your brush looking like this and be all wonky and have bedhead. You want to make sure that when you put your brush together, it stays together. That is how you will have the most success painting these flowers. Okay, so I have out my paint here. Let me move you guys over a tiny bit. I'm going to dip one corner in my yellow, the moon yellow, and one corner in my white. And I'm going to make a new runway for you. And I'm going to come over here. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on my brush. I'm keeping the yellow where the yellow is, the white where the white is, and I'm getting paint up in my bristles. You want to load a decent amount of paint on your brush. The easier that your brush moves and the more paint that your brush has on it in a neat way, not over paint, but in a neat way, the easier it is to do the strokes. Okay? So we're going to do the buttercup, and I'm going to start up here with a little bit of like a front profile one. I'm going to stand my brush up on the chisel edge. I'm going to apply some pressure, swish around the top of the brush, and then come back to meet at the point. Okay, pick up a little bit more paint. I'm going to put one out to the side. I'm standing my brush up. The bottom part of my brush is the same place where it was the first time. I'm going to push up. I'm going to apply a little brush and flare out the fibers of my brush and finish right there. Okay, another little yellow, another little bit of white. Again, I'm going to put the white where the white was, right there. Stand my brush up. I'm going to flare out, put a little bit of pressure on my brush. I'm going to turn the top part and come in. Now we have the back 3 petals of our flower. Okay, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this yellow ochre and add it to the yellow side of my brush. Let me get some fresh white. And I'm going to come in here, and with a little less pressure, I'm going to keep the white where the white is, but I want to add in a couple of petals the same way, except these petals are going to be in the front. Okay? So there's one, and there's 2. So now we have our 3 back petals and our 2 front petals. Okay? I'm going to wash my brush. And now we're going to do a full flower. Okay? I'm going to go back into the original moon yellow and white. Load my brush. Okay? And now I'm going to put this front one right in the middle. So I'm going to stand up. I'm going to push on my brush. I'm going to twist. And there's 1 petal. Same thing. White lines up, a little bit of pressure, twist the top of your brush. White lines up, twist the top of your brush. Okay. I'm turning my, went in the wrong paint. That happens. Yellow, white. You just have to wipe it off and dip again. It doesn't really get up in there unless you work it in. 1, 2. Okay, so now we have this full flower from the front with this yellow and the white again. I'm going to work it in. We're going to do a little bit like of a partial side one. I'm going to do a little bit of pressure and pull. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure and pull. Then I want to add some yellow ochre to the yellow side again. And I'm going to do one of the original petals that we had. And then we're going to add a little bit one in the background. Okay. So we have a side view, a back view, and then we have a center view. And then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to add the yellow and the gold. And I guess I'll put it here. I'm just going to make a circle for the center of this one. Now we're going to make a top view. Okay. All right. And I'm going to wash my brush. Now I'm going to switch to my liner brush. I use this number 2 liner. It's a little wonky. It's been used. It's like my favorite brush. It used to be my least favorite brush. Now it's my favorite brush. So I've used the heck out of it. I'm going to get a little bit of my fresh water. And I want to thin up some of my yellow ochre over here. My yellow ochre is a little thick. I added a little bit of water to it just by dipping my brush in. I'm twirling my liner brush through my thumb and forefinger. Okay. And I just want to add in a few little, I don't know what they're called, stipples, stamens. So I'm making a dot and pulling, dot and pulling, dot and pulling into the middle of my flower. Some of them can cross over each other. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing in the middle here. So dot, pull, and you want them all to go towards the center of the flower. Pick up a little bit more paint. I'm putting a little bit of pressure and pulling in. Okay, I'm turning it and turning it. I guess I could be turning my Lazy Susie. Okay. Then I'm going to use the back of my brush. I'm going to put the center up there for these stipples. I'm going to use the center of my brush. I'm going to put the center in here for these. Okay. Then I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to get a little bit of white. And we're going to come back in here. And we're going to put a dot of white on the tip of every one of these little stamens that we pulled in. Nice fresh tip of white on all of them, on these few over here. Okay. I'm going to pick up some dark green on my liner brush and a little bit of this. I think I have to loosen this up. Citrus green, I'm going to have to put some water on that. And over here with my bud, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and pull a stem for the bud. Okay. I need a little bit of, this is called floating medium. My citrus green's a little thick, so I'm going to put a little bit of this floating medium, not in my paint, but onto my brush. And then I'm going to go into my 2 greens. And this will help my citrus green loosen up and move a little bit better. Making my runway, double loading my brush again with my 2 greens. Okay. Dark green, light green. And now this was the bud before for our top view of our buttercup, before it has really opened. I'm going to use my brush, stand it up, and pull. And we're just pulling in, going around, following the shape of our flower, and pulling in all these little leaves in the background. And then we're going to just add some stems to the rest of our flowers. I'm just using the same brush, this number 12 flat. It's about a 1/2 inch wide. Both colors of paint. I'm putting a little bit of pressure and pulling down. And when I get to the stem, I release the pressure, so at the stem, it is thinner. So a little bit of pressure until I lift up. A little bit of pressure. There we go. And then I want to take my liner brush again. Pick up a little bit of this dark green and come in here and put a little bit of a shadow towards the bottom of this flower. Wash my brush. Get a little bit of white and add a little bit of white up here. And that's it. There's our buttercup. For joining me today, we are going to paint the Lily of the Valley. This is a little bit more of an advanced flower or stroke, but with enough practice you can get it. It's taken me a while. I still haven't mastered it, but I'm still practicing. We're all still practicing, and I'm going to turn you guys around. So it does not have to be perfect to be pretty. I'm going to wash out my brush. I have some white, a little bit of black, and then 2 green, citrus green and thicket. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of this floating medium because my citrus is a little bit thick. So that is going to help my paint move on my brush. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make a new runway with my thicket and my citrus. And see how nice that's moving since I added the floating medium. We don't want to put the floating medium into our paint. We want to put it on our brush. Okay? So I want to start with the placement of my stem. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to stand my brush up and put a little bit of pressure on it. I'm going to go up. I'm going to make like a little candy cane shape. I ran out of paint, so I'm going to pick up some more paint. And I'm going to go back over my line as good as possible. Okay, we fix my brush, pick up some dark green, pick up some light green. I'm going to come here and add another one. And then I'm going to add a few more as I work my way down. Pick up some paint as I go. Just adding these little hooks. You can even do one out to the other side if you wanted to. Just want to make sure you have a really good chisel edge on your brush, that all your bristles come together. And there we go. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush. One second. There we go. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush, dry it off. I like to give it a little bit of a squeeze. And I'm going to pick up some white. I want to really load in nice white on my brush. I think I'm going to pick up some medium again on my brush. Get that all worked in. And then I'm just going to pick up the tiniest bit of black over there and get that worked into my brush as well. And go back for fresh white. Okay? So I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to make a little bit of a bell shape. It's almost like an upside down U. I'm just going to take my brush, I'm standing it up, I'm going to give it a little bit of a push. I'm curving, and I'm coming down. So that's one right there. And this one's kind of underneath and behind. Standing up, I'm giving a little push up, almost like making the letter N. I'm coming down, and there. Okay? Now we're going to make two big ones that are in bloom. Again, I'm not going to pick up any more black. I'm just going to get some fresh white and do the same thing I did out here, but we're going to expand on it. So I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. I'm standing up on the chisel edge. I'm coming up. I'm going to turn a little bit and come down. So now I made it a little bit wider. See how these are more almost like the size of the brush? Tiny, tiny bit of black. And I want to put my shaded little parts of my bell in the background. Don't worry about how dark that is right now. Okay? I'm just going to wipe off my brush. I'm going to go back to my white. Pick up a little bit of a black. Add it on the end. Let me show you that again. So I'm going to come in here. This time it's going to be almost that size. Standing my brush up on the chisel edge. I'm going to push, go up to the stem, slightly turn, and come down. We're attempting to make the bottom wider than the top. Up here, our bottoms and our tops were the same width. Okay? Tiny, tiny bit of black, and I'm going to make this shaded, just using the corner of my brush, and I'm making the shaded background of my bellflower. A little bit more black, white. I want my brush to move a little bit. Okay, and don't worry about how dark that is, because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Then I'm going to get my white. I'm not going to put any more black, and I'm going to come over here, and I want to put a little bit of a bud, and that's it. I used my white to the tip and my little gray to the back, and maybe we'll put another one up here somewhere. Okay, and now I'm going to wash my brush. Now I only want to pick up fresh white. Come over here, I'm going to get some white, pick up my floating medium again on my brush, work it in. The easier your brush moves with the paint, the better your strokes will be. The neater your brush is on the chisel edge, the better your strokes will be. So I'm going to pick up some white, and we're going to go right over these strokes. I'm going to start where we started. I'm going to go up and come down, and then we can add a little bit of a point in there, a little bit of point in there, and there's a bell. And do the same thing. I'm going to stand up, I'm going to push up, okay. We want to bring down the white here for this part of the bell. And there we have our lily of the valley. The two little buds, these really baby buds, and then our full bells down here. Thanks for watching. We are going to do a little small grapevine wreath with some fillet flowers. Hit the subscribe button if you like what you see and you come back for more. You'll be notified as soon as I upload a new video. I'm going to turn you guys around and we are going to get started. Okay, the easiest way for me to start this is to get my water cup. I'm going to put it right here on the middle of my card that I'm using to show you this quick and easy wreath. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to lightly draw a circle. This way, I'm guaranteed that my wreath starts out, zoom in a little bit more, that my wreath starts out nice and straight. Well, not straight, nice and round, okay? So I'm going to get my liner brush. I'm going to dip it in a little fresh water. I have here some burnt umber You guys can't see that because I moved you in a little bit closer. And I'm just coming at the side bottom of my puddle, and I'm getting this a little bit looser. I put my brush in some water, and these plaid folk art paints tend to be a little heavy bodied. So when I want to use my liner brush, we're going to dip it in some water. It's the only time I pretty much use water with these paints and without my acrylic paints. I'm giving it a nice twirl between my thumb and forefinger. And now I'm going to come back to my grapevine wreath. And I'm just going to start making a series of twisties that follow the shape of the vine. Okay, I want to go in a circle. I want these to crisscross over. And I'm just going to fill this in and make it as thick or as thin or sparse as I want. I'm going to keep going over and over and over. At the end, when your art is completely dry, you can erase your pencil line if you need to. Now I'm going to pick up some of this yellow ochre on my brush. I'm not even going to clean my brush. This way, we're putting in a few different colors. I'm still going around and around. Go back to my brown. Now I'm actually going to be adding in some branches that aren't as long. Some of them can boing to the inside. Some of them can boing to the outside. It's a grapevine wreath. They're a little messy. And you keep going, like I said, and you can make this as full or as sparse as you want to. I mean, I could go forever and ever and ever. I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of white, and I'm just going to add in a few little white highlight branches in here as well. Not too many. I'm just using the tip of my brush. Okay? And then I'm going to wash my liner brush and rinse it out. With a little bit of water in it, I'm going to come over here to my dark green. Again, I'm just at the very edge of my puddle, and I'm going to twirl between my thumb and my forefinger. I'm going to stand my brush up on the edge, and I'm going to start pulling in some stems. Pick up a little bit more paint. Now I'm going to go into my light green. I'm using a very light touch. I'm almost like, so I have my brush on the paper and then I flip off. So as I get to the top, I'm flicking up. This way, the top of my stroke is a little bit thinner than the bottom of my stroke. We can add a couple of little light yellow ones in here if we want, just for some dimension and some interest. Okay? Then up top, I'm going to grab a few, and we're going to add a little bit thicker stems. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush. And remember, you can make this any size you want. This is just an example. This is just me showing you how you can do it. Let me get some fresh white. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please do. You'll be notified the next time I upload a video, and I love doing this. I do a series of 3 flowers each month, plus full tutorials start to finish. So now I have some white here. I'm going to dip in my liner brush into some white, and now I'm just going to start tapping in here, making clusters of white flowers over these branches or these stems that I put in here. You don't want to completely cover them up. This is like thistle or milkweed. And I'm just tapping them in here. I just picked up a little bit of green, but that's okay. Put a few more down in here. And there we go. That's a simple little grapevine wreath with some filler flowers. Thanks for watching.